Good afternoon, New York, and the rest of our listeners around the globe. My name is June Stoyer, and I'm the host of the Organic View Radio Show. Our podcast is available on iTunes, Zune, and you can also visit our website at www.theorganicview.com. If you have any questions for our guests, there are many ways you can contact the show. You can post a question on our wall on Facebook, Skype us, send us a tweet on Twitter to @TheOrganicView, or you can contact me directly at June Stoyer. If you'd like to be on the show or would like to find out about sponsorship opportunities, please contact us at questions@theorganicview.com. On today's show, Erica Meier, the Executive Director of Compassion Over Killing, will join me to talk about a new Undercover video which shows the heinous abuse to baby calves at a Colorado agribusiness facility. So I would like to welcome to the show Erica Meier. Good afternoon, Erica, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, June.
Oh, you're very welcome. Erica, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became involved with Compassion Over Killing?
Yeah, sure. I have been a long-time vegetarian, vegan, trying to always do things I can to help animals. And in 2000, I moved to the D.C. area and got very involved as a volunteer with Compassion Over Killing. At the time, I was an animal control officer working in Washington, D.C. And a few years later, I was given a job opportunity at Compassion Over Killing, and I've been here since 2005.
Thank you. Erica, can we talk about the investigation itself? First and foremost, what prompted this particular investigation, and can you also talk about the dangers involved with conducting this type of investigation?
Sure. We have undercover investigators who look for job opportunities inside different facilities, and in this case, Quanah Cattle Company, which is based in Kersey, Colorado, had a job opportunity that our investigator took advantage of. There certainly are risks to conducting undercover investigations, and the safety of our investigators are a top priority. A lot of these facilities, when they discover that there's been video footage taken, they're not obviously happy with the cruelty that's being exposed inside the facilities. And animal agribusiness as a whole is not happy with the video footage that's coming out of these facilities, the cruelty that's being exposed to consumers everywhere. And so animal agribusiness has been working very hard, sort of flexing its lobbying muscle, so to speak, trying to pass what are known as ag-gag laws on a state level across the country to criminalize these videos, to criminalize the undercover investigators, to stop the American public from seeing what's happening behind the closed doors.
Thank you. Erica, can you also explain exactly what the footage shows and how long this investigation took place?
Yeah, our investigator worked inside this facility on a very part-time basis for about 3 months, from July through September of this year, for a total of 13 days. And while working inside this facility, our investigator witnessed and used a hidden camera to document the way in which these animals are being treated. This facility, just to give a little bit of background, this facility, Quanah Cattle Company, they purchase newborn calves from nearby dairy facilities. And most of these calves, they're just days old. They're primarily males. And male calves are unwanted in the dairy industry because they won't produce milk. So Quanah Cattle Company picks these unwanted dairy calves up. They bring them back to their facility where they'll house them. They'll confine them in hutches or crates for about a week. And then they'll load them back onto trucks, ship them out, sell them to different companies where they will then be raised for their meat. So while working for this company, our investigator, using a hidden camera, documented these newborn calves. Some are so young they still have their umbilical cords still attached. They arrive at this facility, often they're too feeble or frightened to walk, so workers will drag them by their legs, pull them by their ears, lift them by their tails, kick them, flip them, slam them, and throw them around. And it is just a heartbreaking video to watch. It is very, very disturbing to see, but I do encourage people to watch it so they can understand where their food is coming from. These are calves who are unwanted in the dairy industry. They will be raised and slaughtered for their meat.
Thank you. It's very disturbing, especially since there are a lot of great farmers out there who do care not only for the land but for the animals that they care for. And this type of practice is not something that is wanted in industry. Not to mention the fact that they are literally taking baby calves that are newborns and especially since these baby calves can barely walk because they're still, they just came out of the womb, to experience this type of treatment is beyond just calling it cruel. It's just wrong.
Yeah, it's so callous and it's so egregious that we are calling upon local authorities to file criminal charges of cruelty to animals. And experts from Colorado State University, who are experts in animal handling and animal science, have already come out issuing statements decrying this cruelty.
Now, Erica, if this were a slaughtering facility, what would have been the difference?
That's a great question, and Dr. Temple Grandin, who is from Colorado State University, is one of the experts who has reviewed our video, and she did specifically say if this was a slaughter plant, the USDA would have shut them down. And what's really unfortunate for these calves is this facility, there's no federal animal welfare oversight of this facility. There are no federal laws whatsoever, in fact, that protect animals or have any oversight of animals on farms while they're being raised. So in the process of being raised on these farms, there's no federal regulations whatsoever. The federal regulations come into play when animals are being slaughtered or they're being shipped on trucks for more than 28 hours. But the majority of these animals' lives, there's no federal regulations. And so the USDA would not be involved in this case. This case is, the facility is subject to state level laws, however. In Colorado, like most states, unfortunately, what are known as common agricultural practices, or in Colorado they're called accepted animal husbandry practices, are exempt from the anti-cruelty laws. So the same laws that we would use to punish someone who harms their dog or cat can't be used in Colorado unless these practices are not considered acceptable. And we are arguing that these practices, these dragging animals by their limbs and pulling them by their ears and lifting them by their tails, is not an accepted industry practice.
Does this pertain to only the state of Colorado, or is this in every state? Do you know?
The type of animal abuse, or is that?
No, the type of the laws.
Yeah.
That you mentioned.
Most states specifically exempt common agricultural practices, or farmed animals specifically.
Well, I do know, especially growing up on a farm, that anything that you consume from that farm, especially if you're consuming the meat or the products from an animal that has been treated cruelly, the products are not going to be healthy. So that's a very big concern, especially for the meat eaters and people who do consume dairy out there. This is a very big concern to all people, not just people that are concerned about the welfare of the animal, but from the consumer's perspective, this is encouraging a practice that is really leading to a product that is not properly raised for what it's supposed to be. And that's the reality of it. Now, have you heard anything from the dairy community at all about this?
We haven't seen any statements yet from the dairy industry. We look forward to seeing that, and we do hope that they actually will use this video as an opportunity to try to prevent animal cruelty from happening in the future related to the dairy industry.
Thank you. Moving forward, where do you hope that this undercover investigation will take your organization? Do you think that at some point in the future it's actually tangible that you will get a law passed?
Well, right now, the immediate goals that we're working on are trying to get local authorities to file charges of criminal cruelty to animals. So we're working with local authorities right now. The Weld County Sheriff's Office, which is the county where this facility is located, is taking this matter seriously. They have opened their own independent investigation, and so we're continuing to work with them and hope this case moves forward so that these animals will, these workers actually will be brought to justice. The wider goal of our investigation is to let consumers know what's really happening behind closed doors. We strongly believe that consumers have a right to know where their food is coming from. And we believe that when people discover the miseries that are forced upon farmed animals, that they will make more compassionate choices. And certainly consumers want to know what's happening behind closed doors. They need to have this information in order to make more informed choices in the marketplace.
Thank you. Erica, the work that you're doing is really incredibly important, especially to consumers and to people who are concerned about the animals. And it is a tireless effort, and your work is all based upon the funds that you receive. Can you just share with our audience a little bit about the other work that you're doing, as well as how people can get involved?
Sure, absolutely. So we are a nonprofit organization, as you mentioned. We are, the work that we do is because of the support of members across the country. And we rely upon the generosity of our supporters to help make our work possible. We focus on farmed animals as a nonprofit organization. We are animal advocacy work, but we focus specifically on farmed animals. So in addition to undercover investigations, we have a very active legal advocacy program. We also do a lot of outreach. We air 30-second pro-vegetarian commercials on Hulu.com and Comedy Central and other national cable networks. We work on a local level in the DC and LA area where we have offices. We've hosted the DC Veg Fest not that long ago with over 10,000 people celebrating with us. And we have very active programs reaching nationwide, including US Veg Week, which is a campaign where we encourage people to pledge to go vegetarian for 7 days during April to coincide with Earth Day. So there's a sustainability message in addition to the message of eating healthier foods as well as choosing more compassionate foods. So the work that we do is twofold. One is trying to expose what happens behind the closed doors of factory farms and challenge those practices and challenge how those products are marketed to consumers, as well as provide consumers with information that we strongly believe that they want and need in order to make better choices when it comes to choosing foods that align with their moral values.
Thank you. Erica, could you just briefly share your website, if you can also share your social media information, because there's so many folks, especially that tune into this show around the globe, that would like to get involved and can learn more about what you do from your website and your social media activities.
Yeah, our website is cok.net. cok.net, and that is actually the best way to reach us on social media. All the social media options are right there on the homepage of our website, where people can also see the video that we've been talking about today.
Thank you. Erica, thank you so much for your time and for also doing the work that you do, taking the risks that you do, and trying to make the world a better place, especially when it comes to, these cruelties that human beings, for whatever reason, still continue to do. The exposure is so incredibly important, because without that exposure, and I know that it's very dangerous to do this type of work, but without this type of exposure, people will really not have a clue as to what goes on. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. The work that we do is only half of it, and you're helping us get the message out there to a huge audience. So we really appreciate what you're doing to help us get this information out there.
You're very welcome. Folks, please support Compassion Over Killing's efforts by visiting www.cok.net and also visit theorganicview.com, where we'll have a post-show article which lists all of the information. Thank you for tuning in. This has been June Stoyer with the Organic View Radio Show. Please take the time to get to know your farmer and support sustainable agriculture, not agriculture that supports cruelty. Thank you.